Death's Arrow, and this is a What I'm Thinking debrief for the week of September 8th, 2013. Building upon the first volume of the Skill Tankers tanks, I present the second tank to fit the mold, the T49. This Tier 5 American tank destroyer, while similar to the Hellcat, takes vision control to an all-new extreme. It's probably no surprise that another turreted tank destroyer rates highly as a Skill Tankers tank. High camo on a vehicle with a turret is a powerful combination. The T49 has many similar key features to the Hellcat, like excellent mobility, good camo, and good view range. The gun, though, is the biggest differentiator between the tanks. While the Hellcat has a hard-hitting 90mm gun, the T49 carries the 76mm AT gun M1A1, a gun that isn't as punchy as the 90mm, but has a high rate of fire. It should be noted that the high rate of fire of the 76mm gun will occasionally cause you to run out of ammunition. I don't carry any HE rounds on this tank, and run a mix of 36 AP rounds and 9 APCR rounds for harder targets. Camo and vision control are still key skills, and the T49 has excellent camo and view range to take advantage of. My general strategy is to take up a camoed position near a key map location or main route and take pot shots at whatever comes my way. If I either get spotted, clear an area out, or no enemies are around, I use the T49's mobility to quickly relocate to another position and repeat. The T49 doesn't have a lot of hit points and is very fragile, so you'll want to stay hidden as much as possible. Slugging and brawling are also not ideal for the same reasons. You'll also need to be careful of undulations in terrain, as the tank has a tendency to jump over bumps and landings will cause significant damage to the tank. I've been running a rammer, camo net, and binocs on my T49. Aim time isn't an issue with the gun, and you'll generally want to fire from static camoed positions, which is why I run a camo net and binocs. I do make one consumable change on this tank by running 100 octane gas rather than a fire extinguisher. This increases both engine power and turret traverse speed by 5%. The turret on the T49 has a slow traverse rate, and this small improvement helps out quite a bit. For skills, camo is critical. After that, 6th sense and clutch braking are important skills to train. The T49 is my go-to mid-tier tank as of late, and is an excellent performer in skilled hands, as you'll soon see in the match of the week! The replay that we'll be looking at is a solo battle from September 8th on South Coast in my T49. As noted on the loading screen, this is a standard battle. Reviewing tank composition for this battle reveals the following. This is a Tier 6 battle with 3 Tier 6s on my team and 4 on the enemy team. My team has 9 Tier 5s while the enemy team has 6. My team has 3 Tier 4s while the enemy team has 5. Both teams have a single Tier 4 RDPs. I don't recognize anyone in this battle. As the match loads in, I plan to stay near cap early on and take up a sniping position on the hill at D6. This area has both soft and hard cover, along with good lanes of fire for any enemies headed up the middle or into town. If the enemy pushes the 9-0 column in force, I can rotate over to D7 to get shots on them. As the battle gets underway, I immediately start heading south. I'm going to take up a position at D6 as mentioned in the match introduction. I'm going to start off on the high spot. There's also that notch to my right. I'll take that position quite a bit too. With the right tank, you can actually go hull down in the road rut and utilize a slight rise to protect your hull. Actually, if I was in that location, I wouldn't have been able to get shots of that Su-85B that just popped up. Got an ELC push in the middle. We've got KV-1S and a Panzer III 4-spot in the middle. I'm going to try to line up the KV-1S. Bounce my first shot. Get a hit for damage. He disappears. I fire a blind shot. Probably a miss. Have a T-14 pushing the middle. Get hit on his turret. Keeping him lined up. Miss my second shot. Just see the top of his turret right now. Bounce off the top of his turret. Got an M4 pushing over the hill at G7. I missed my first shot. Hit him with my second shot. Hit on my third shot. And he moves out of my line of sight. Got an Excelsior pushing the middle. I know we have that T-14 up there, so I need to support him. T-14 comes out of cover. I missed my first shot. Get a hit for damage on his side. Another hit for damage on his side. He's backing into cover. I knocked down the columns that are in front of me by accident. There's another damaging hit. Keeping my fire focused on him. And I knock him down. Team has pretty good distribution right now, although we don't have any tanks in town. I'm basically covering that part of the map. We've got 5 tanks on the beach. Excelsior and T14 pushing up at G7. And 3 tanks pushing the 9-0 column. Churchill 7 there in the back. Trying to see if I can get shots on that Hellcat in town. Or possibly the enemies on the beach. The enemy's T50 is trying to breach the 4 column, which gives him the opportunity to flank behind my teammates on the beach or shoot up into our base. Rather than allow him to run free, I'm going to rotate over and intercept him, likely at A4. While this will likely devolve into a brawling situation, the T50 doesn't really have an advantage as we have a similar number of hit points and I have better firepower. Get around the corner, I'm heading west now. There's the T50. Line him up, get a hit. He gets a hit on me. He's backing up around the corner, staying on him. Trying to be cautious because he could circle me pretty easily. Missed my second shot, critical hit on the third shot. There's a damaging hit on the fourth shot. I'll need to chase him because he's moving out of my line of fire. I'm not going to get much luck hitting him on the move though. Slow down a little bit to try to hit him as he goes around the corner and I just miss. Not going to reload in time. He's gotten out of my line of fire again. I'm going to have to keep chasing him. The T50 isn't particularly fast in relation to the T49's acceleration and speed. He's just going to be able to take corners a lot easier than I am. Still chasing the T50. I get a hit on him, trying to finish him off. I get a critical hit and he gets out of my line of fire again. I'm going to continue chasing him. While chasing the T50, I've inadvertently put myself into a bad situation, having to face off one-on-one versus a KV-1S in a brawling situation. This does not favor my tank at all. A 122mm armed KV-1S can easily one-shot my tank. While I do commit to the engagement, I would have been better off backing off down to the beach and escaping. To use this building as cover, I'm going to bounce around back and forth. KV-1S is pushing in on me. I'm going to circle around this building, try to get behind him. I can see that he's backing up, so I'm going to stay right where I am, force him to back up and expose himself. He's exposed himself. I hit him, damage, and knock his track off. I want to keep this building between us. He does have the 122mm gun, which can knock me down in a single shot. He's coming around the corner. I'm going to push back around before he can line me up. Behind him again. Get a critical hit on his flank for no damage. He misses his shot. I'm going to pop out and put some shots into him because I know he has a longer reload time than I do. I get a second hit. Back up again, forcing him to come out against me. Get another hit. Looks like that was an arty miss there. And he misses another shot. And I know I have him dead to rights now. And I finish him off. Should be noted I was using some premium rounds in that engagement. I wanted to make sure that my shots counted. After winning a brawl that generally would have resulted in the destruction of my tank, the enemy has started capping our base. Based on last known position, it's likely the low health T50. I'll have no issue rotating back and defending cap. The T50 has stopped capping, but there are other enemies unaccounted for that could be pushing our cap. I'll stick to my plan and head back up to the cap. I can always use the hill positions to spot from if I don't encounter any enemies. 3601 is pushing our base. I'm going to switch to premium rounds just in case I have to fight him head up, because his front plate will bounce my regular rounds. Missed my first shot. Second shot is a hit, and I knock him down. Likely did not need to use premium rounds in that engagement, as he was showing flank for most of the fight. I'm now going to push up and try to spot the enemy Matilda. Dodge an arty shot. I was kind of expecting that. Poke out carefully, try to spot the Matilda. Our KV-1S spots him. Gets a hit on him, he's down to 17 hit points. I line him up, knock him down. With the Matilda destroyed, it's time to push on the enemy base. I'll head right up the middle and try to find their arty. The T50 is still a wild card as he could be almost anywhere at this point. He is still one-shottable, but could be a pest right now if he decided to cap. This battle's pretty much in hand at this point. The T50 is the only wild card and he's one-shottable. Pushing towards the enemy cap. If I happen to get to cap without spotting the enemy arty, I will not cap. I will actually skirt the cap so they don't know where I am. He's Spot the enemy arty, get a hit, get a second hit, and I knock him down. With just the T50 remaining, I decide to start capping the enemy base. I have no idea where the T50 is, and hunting him down is a waste of time. Our Stug and KV-1S aren't far behind and will quickly cap the game out. Actually taunt the T50 here, trying to get him to come out and chase me, so I do have 5 kills. And a top gun wouldn't be a bad thing, although it's just a metal. No sight of the T50. I'm expecting him to come from the east. There's a Reddit player on the enemy team who actually tells us that the enemy T50 is pushing up the beach. And we cap out the base for the win. Looking at the after action screens, I destroyed 5 tanks, damaged 2 more, hit 29 of 38 shots for 2,363 points of damage, and earned 1,956 experience. Overall, I decided to take up a sniping position near base to start the battle. This is an ideal role for the T49, and the northern spawn on this map has good lanes of fire. As expected, the enemy pushed a number of tanks up the middle, which I had ample opportunity to take shots on. When the enemy's T50 pushed the 4 column, I abandoned my position to rotate over and stop him in case he decided to flank my teammates on the beach. After encountering the T50, he ran away and I chased after him, which led to putting myself into a bad situation solo against a KV-1S at brawling range. While in retrospect I should have backed out and escaped, I committed to the brawl and handily defeated a superior opponent. I utilized the T49's mobility and high rate of fire to punish the KV-1S every time he missed. Even though I did win this brawl, it's certainly not a good way to play the T49. After defeating the KV-1S, the enemy's T50 was capping our base. I rotated back to defend cap, encountering an enemy VK3601. Once cap was safe and the enemy's Matilda was knocked down, I pushed on the enemy's base, knocking out their arty and capping out their base for the win. While I could have chased down the remaining enemy T50, his location was unknown and would have ultimately been a waste of time. Thank you for watching this WoT I'm Thinking debrief. Stay tuned for more content soon.
Ha ha ha.